Hello! Testing 1, 2, 3. Let me check to see that this is. Okay. I am live. All right. How are people doing today? Let me announce this because I have learned that if you forget to announce things, these streams, right when they're happening, people don't show up. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, Magpie. How are you guys doing? All right, so let's see. How are we? Where are we? So I think I have an idea of what I want to do in terms of where. Let me turn off the self monitoring because I do not like monitor off. Okay. That's much better. I cannot. I'm using Bluetooth, so it would be on a delay, and it's messing with me. Hey, okay. Probably going to be wrapping presents during the stream. Well, that's a handy thing. That's not something that I can do, unfortunately, because I'm the one streaming. But if people have other things that they want to do while being entertained, such as my entertainment is, then that's great. Okay. So, I have my and do excuse if there is any noise that filters in from upstairs because in the past two streams I have sent the rest of my family to the library, but that was not practical today, so they are upstairs. And it's a split level, so there's not really a door, but we should be good. Let me turn that off. So I was thinking, and last week I started off saying, oh, I wanted to make Excel crashed. I started off saying I wanted to make the names of these languages, right? But I chickened out because I was worried about what it wouldn't work out right because of I didn't have a map, right? But I thought about it after the stream and I thought, well, I don't really need a map to make place names. And I read some world building advice recently that said focus on the things that you like doing and you're good at. And while I do like making maps, it's not the thing that I feel most focused on doing. And also, I have very limited time. Oh, Jonathan, you want a word to mean candle? Put a pin in that. Let's think about that. Put that on the board because maybe I'll work on a word for candle in a bit, and then then you can have some ideas. First, I want to get these names out, though. But candle would be relevant since it is my daughter's 7th birthday. So, but let's move on here. So, something I want to state up front, because I'm not sure I made it clear in previous streams, is that there's a reason why I had the idea of making this language not Chinese. Okay? That normally I am not a huge fan of cultural coding. I didn't really want to make the fantasy version of real world cultures. And I still kind of don't. But the particular story that I wrote, I have a first draft down. I need to go back and revise it, but I kind of need character names, which is why I'm making languages. This story, the core of it, the very, very first draft of the story was basically me making a fantastical version of my experience with my dissertation defense. So, naturally, I did have a character that's heavily based on me, and I do have a character that's heavily based on my wife, who is Chinese. So, I thought, I need a name for this character, and I would add some other characters from the same culture. That means I kind of need sort of a Chinese stand-in. So, that background in there, I want to talk about some issues I had with the languages I'm working with. The thing about it is, I'm okay with it diverging and not really looking too much like Chinese, but because I don't want it to be like a relax. I don't want it to be me taking Chinese words and remixing them. I want it to be an actual language, right? But at the same time, I've had issues looking at this and thinking about things like, well, there's not really enough tone contours to me. It doesn't feel right. The number of roots that end up with this default midtone. I don't have any info on these languages online. I probably should write something up, but limited time. All I have is Lexember stuff from this, and also from a year or two ago, I did all the Lexember on TikTok, which good luck finding that on the app because it's not designed for you to search. But anyway, that's the answer to your question, Jonathan. But I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about, well, what could I do to adjust these languages? The other thing is, these two look way too similar to me. I wanted them to be different languages, but they kind of look like just two fairly divergent dialects. That's kind of a that's kind of a judgment call, because I can't do mutual intelligibility testing on this kind of thing, right? And there's things I could do to fix that, and I might fix that, but I decided instead that I would go back, and I went back a step further back to the third stage and started deriving another sister. Now, it's not done yet. I've only done up to the fourth stage, and there's still some things I need to fix about my sound changes, because there's things that are not correct. There's rules not applying correctly and stuff. So I need to do some to fix some bugs in the stuff, and also I'm not 100% sure that I have all the sound changes done on this. You can see this is my phonics file for this language. It's got a good number of sound changes. I have not switched to Lexergy because I'm used to phonics, and I have used features of phonics that I don't think exist in Lexergy yet. So that's a thing. But this is what I have so far. I'm going to develop this further, try to squeeze a few more tone distinctions out of it. I think I'm going to squeeze more tone distinctions out of it and then collapse those tone distinctions into a smaller set to give it the feel of, like, Mandarin has these 4 contour tones. My wife is from Henan province, which is their local dialect is in the Mandarin group. So, like, another thing that was bothering me is my languages that I have here, they have stop codas. And I was talking to my wife at some point, and and we sort of went back and forth, and it seems like stop codas are like one of the things about Cantonese that marks it as foreign to her. So I'm like, well, I mean, I also have an English thing that I'm working, not English conlang that I'm working on, that definitely has things in it that read as very foreign to me and not really like English. But at the same time, like, how far, it's all this judgment call of how far do I want to diverge, right? So where I'm at is, I think you'll notice that the thing that I have here still does have stop codas, but I am going to get rid of those. And I have a way to work it so that I can get rid of stop codas and get even more tones to work with as I finish the final stage. But that's where I'm at on that. Yes, Conlangery is live. Hello, Soton. Is that how you pronounce your name? Soton? Sotone? I don't know. Yes. Yes. Conlangery live. We have been doing this all month and as an experiment, and it's been fun so far. I have learned that I have to tell people about my stuff, but that's all. So, all of that as background. So I'm making this new third language in order to get the language of the character that is loosely based on my wife in the novel, right? Whereas this one, the language A, is actually going to be spoken by another major character who is not based on anybody because pronounce it similar to Satin. Soton. Satin. Soton? That's interesting. Anyway, because like, it's not directly based on my experience. It's got, like, it's not people doing little phonological experiments on languages. It's people making spells, and I have characters that don't exist in my life, right? But anyway, so this language will feature in the novel with another major character, and then I'm making the other one that's for the character that's the wife of the main character, right? But all that set aside background for what I'm about to say is for the character that this is based on, that this language is spoken by, who is like a totally new invention who I know things about. The thought is that this is a port city that is, yeah, you lack the schwa. That's very interesting dialect feature, Sotan. I have a lot of the I vowel in things like the plural markers and past tense markers. Okay, gotta chat is being gotta stay focused. I'm happy to interact with chat, but I also have to do my own thing. So where was I? So this language needs to be for a port city, and it's like a relatively recent port city within what was traditionally a land empire. Basically Shanghai. Although world building history wise, I do not know how much the history is going to develop, because I am a little bit iffy on whether the colonialism that made Shanghai was a thing in this world. It's kind of like, do I want to touch that in the story or not? But it is going to be a port city, which makes me, that is a place to lead from without knowing exactly where it is. It's a port city, so it is on the sea, although on the sea, I'm not going to do on the sea, because that's literally just going to be a calque of Shanghai, right? But it is somewhere on the sea. It's in a harbor. It's probably at the mouth of a river. That's stuff that I can work with without knowing exactly where it is. So, I was thinking, now I'm not even sure. I think I had a compound in mind, but it's something about a harbor, right? So we got to think about harbor. And let's start by getting a root for harbor. Oh, I'm showing you my Tumblr. That's not. Yeah. Reminded of some Welsh place names. Well, the harbor is going to be a really common place name because people settled down on rivers, and those settlements became cities, and most place names, most place names, if you actually get down to the actual history of it, to the ultimate etymology, they tend to be kind of boring. There's like the big mountain, the red hill, the river, like literally just a river. The sea in the middle of the land, that's Mediterranean, right? They're just kind of, and then in this language, although I suppose naming a river is just the same question down the road. Yeah, so how do I... So let's look for meanings. Or no. Semantic shifts. Yeah. Uh, so the name can be a poor loan of harbor of foreign empire. I think I want it to be native. Um, Partly because I literally just have these languages done, and partly because like I said most place names are boring, and the thing is like if I am going for this feel of this language being somewhat like Chinese but bent a little bit, then part of that is that a lot of Chinese place names and city names are transparent. Shanghai means over the water. Beijing means northern capital. Nanjing means southern capital. Uh, uh, Xi'an is something peace. Chang'an is like city peace or something. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Oh, okay. You had to make a word for harbor for a culture that doesn't have any water. Oh my, yeah. Okay. Talking, I'm like half in the chat and half on my own thing, and I don't know when you guys are talking to me and talking to each other. So, apologies for that. So anyway, so I am going to do my own looking at harbor, and you guys can give me ideas of where. So we want to do a sheltered, expansive harbor. Um, from Old English, Herabjorg. Apologies, I don't speak Anglo-Saxon at all. So, shelter, lodgings, or quarters. Harjabergu, an army shelter. From an army protection. Okay, so the English word comes from like a word for an army barracks, or what passed for an army barracks like 1,000 years ago, right? That's interesting. So it wasn't even anything to do with the sea, huh? Um, yeah. I'm working on thinking of like what the etymology was for harbor, and in part this doesn't matter a whole lot, um, because it's not really gonna affect like what the word is now. It's just gonna be I'm just gonna have a root word here. But at the same time, in the future, I can have the idea of what this was and make it mean something else in a different sister language. What's a conlanging live stream without some distracting nonsense in the chat? Oh, listen. At when I first started this, I was like, I've been in David's chat. I wonder if he'll show up to heckle me, but so far he hasn't shown up. I guess he's too busy. Uh, so seaport, Xianggang. So Gang by itself cognate with the word for river. Okay, that's one idea. Because you often find harbors at the end of. You're here as his representatives, Jonathan. That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay, Port Harbor Dock, and I really hate when, like, I have the root, the Arabic roots, but it doesn't have a page for it. Does anyone know what this root is by itself? Does it have to do with the sea, ships? What? It seems like a different word from the same root has to do with ships. So it's just kind of an annoyance of Wiktionary. One of those ways. Port. So port, I think just is not that port. Okay, let me. We also have port. Look at look at the Galician, and then maybe I can. From Latin portus. From that. You've run into that with Hebrew too. Yeah, it really with the triconsonantal ones, it really helps if they have pages for the triconsonantal roots because without that, I'm looking at it and I'm I I can't even read Arabic very well. So it's like I don't know what I'm looking at. So warehouse. So this comes from a Proto-Indo-European crossing. Portus. I thought that port was a cognate with the with a word for door in Romance, like Spanish puerta. Spanish has puerto and puerta, but apparently not. I don't know why I assumed that. I guess it just they sound similar. Greek. So this is borrowed from Ottoman Turkish. I mean, I eventually will have borrowings in this language, but I need to know who had contact with them when and stuff. And like, there's also like, how far am I going to like reinvent the history of the real world? Because like I have in the course of making my not English, I have made like what could be the equivalent of the Indo-European family, although it would look extremely different. Um, and like I could have my equivalents of Tokharian and Sanskrit, but I don't know exactly how that's going to sort out. So it was reborrowing. Okay, that's not really helping me. I really just need like navs. That's a borrowing. Navi Sadguri. Navi probably just means boat. Yeah, ship. And Sadguri. Ship, room, place. No, I don't want. I want a root that will mean harbor. So I'm just kind of thinking about that. Huanga. Maori, if it has the information, unfortunately it doesn't. Because, I mean, if they had the information, then that would be interesting for us seafaring people. Yeah, they may have diverged further back. They probably diverged before Latin because they have different genders. But that's not Russian. Haven. It's borrowed from Dutch Haven, which, or Haven, sorry, because it's not English, it's Dutch. Habno. Tell me what these things mean. Take, seize, or grasp. Okay. Yeah, so we're seeing words related to military. We're seeing words related. I don't want it to necessarily be military because it's like these people had forts on land more than they had, like fortifications, fortified cities on land more than they had fortified ports. Um, is borrowing. Yeah. Port. Kyrgyz has port and Haven. I think I know where those come from. Or Vietnamese. From Proto-Vedic kind. Mouth. Yeah. Mouth is good. The mouth of a river. What sense of harbor are you after? So, the maritime sense. Basically, you know, you know what a harbor is. It's like an inlet from the sea that's just a little jag that gives safety for boats to dock. And it's often on the mouth of a river, and you often see a city spring up there for trade. Dock, harbor, boat place. That makes sense. Okay, this is not really leading me anywhere. So right now, I'm going to just go back to my spreadsheet and I'm going to go to my other routes and I'm going to pick out a route then because it's what kind of farming do these people practice? Well, it is loosely based on Chinese culture. So you have rice agriculture in one part and wheat agriculture in another part. Mostly intensive agriculture. I have not decided whether it's actually north south the same as the real world or it's like flipped upside down so that the north is in the south and the south is in the north, if you know what I mean, where like instead of in the real world where China is wheat in the north and rice in the south, it would be backwards because of different environments. But yeah, so mostly when I was doing food terms, I was kind of focusing on things that exist in or originated in China to give that feel to the culture, but with also some things that are invented for the world. I'm not sure how much I'm going to want to like manipulate where things existed in this world to make it different. It's kind of, it feels a bit touchy to have this coded culture and then mess around with where things like corn and potatoes popped up. Yeah. Raised platforms in the water. They could. Well, I mean, why would they not be making raised platforms in the water? That's I'm interested to hear like why that is considered not a thing. Like I mean, it's like a land empire, but they have ocean-going vessels, and they've had them for a while. It's sort of one of these things of in the real world, China was a land empire, and then going to the sea was for trade and exploration, but not conquering people. But let's get a route that will mean harbor, and later on, I can figure out what that route meant historically. I was just thinking maybe I could get ahead of myself a little bit. Paste that. Paste the ta. Ta. That sounds good, actually. A flat. Flat platform makes farming rice harder, would it not? Uh, um, I don't know what you mean by platforms exactly, but the I know that there are rice terraces, which they're not platforms. They're dug in. Uh, oh, duck skin. That's interesting. Um, yeah, I think I'm going to. Did I not copy this? Copy. For now, I'm going to have a route that means harbor now, and I'm going to have to figure out what it meant historically. And then see where that goes. Yeah. I'm going to put question marks. I could even do a descriptive thing like a divot, or circle, or something like that. And then what kind of harbor? So things that are in my brain are like color terms, like white, or just great, big, whatever. And give themselves a grandiose name, and let's say, or yeah, this yeah, Sutton's here talking about is there a yin yang culture concept? I have not gotten into religion or philosophy. There may be something similar to the yin yang, um, but I don't know how far I want to get into it because I don't know how confident I'm going to be. Um, Something with wealth, maybe. Like gold or silver or something like that. You think, Magpie? The thing is, like that would be a bit more of a recent thing, and I don't know if they would necessarily. Um, I have Sotan. I have not heard any cities in China that have the yin or yang indicating whether they're in the shadow of a hill. Do you have some examples of that? Um, uh, that's an interesting thought. I'm not really. I kind of will envision this to be sort of on a relative plane. Um, the mountains are going to be sort of elsewhere. But a major export, that's another thought. Or maybe a major historical export. Uh, you know what? I'm going to actually. Let's go. Let's do some history. Um, because now, like I said, like I mentioned, like this the city might have some similarities to Shanghai, right? But it's not going to be Shanghai. So let's actually take a look at the history of Shanghai a little bit. So it was originally a fishing village and market town. Um, but it was so, and in the 19th century it grew basically because colonialism. Uh, that's I'm not sure if I'm going to do that part of the history, but so we have some things. We have a a district named Pudong, which let's see what that actually was. Pudong. What is this? Is this? This riverbank. So riverbank. So Huangpu. So yeah. Voice right. That's something from the last stream. So voice right. So yeah. So I I decided to make two words for right. One of them is indicating you're actually writing while understanding what you're writing, while as the other one, character right, um, uh, it's actually so Nipkan is actually like being a scribe and maybe copying things. There's an indication that you may not actually be able to read, but you can copy the characters. So that's the distinction that I'm drawing there. Um, I have gone so long on this one thing that I really need to be moving faster here. Shencheng. I really want it to be harbor. Student taking notes could be that too. Yeah. Um, the there could be a variety of uses. That's an idea that I might have to take when I expand out the definition. Yeah, as a more mechanical thing. Um, so so there's sort of a natural harbor in Shanghai that's split here by the river. And I don't want it to look exactly like this. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. But um, I like the idea of a trade good, but what trade good do we want to think about? It has to be, we want it to be like a luxury good, right? Um, something that's not super common, or it can be something that was historically a big deal there. Ah, yes. Nipkin. Okay. Sorry, this is riveting, I'm sure, to watch me sit here and think about names. Pearls? Yeah, let's go with that. So I'm going to actually just do any of these jump out at people for meaning pearl. That might be something. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do we want to do pearls? Because there's a real place in the real world called Pearl Harbor. I just thought of that. Maybe not pearls. Uh, maybe the oysters themselves. Where do oysters live? Um, so, do they have a map? It's always wonderful if they have a map. Let's take a look at the oysters. Oyster reef. Okay. Store habitat map. It's more of a tropical area, so I expect more like Coral Harbor is another idea. Yeah. Um, so in within Asia, it seems like oysters are not actually found in the kind of region that I'm looking at for this. That doesn't mean it can't be. By the way, I remember hearing a story of like New York City used to have massive oyster reefs. Um, and and the like everybody used to eat oysters there to the point where it was. So maybe not oyster. Coral. Was there big trade in coral in historically? Like, did people go and cut it and trade it around? Probably. You know what? I am getting way too much of this, and somebody mentioned putting chi in here, and I'm actually kind of a mind to punt this and pick a root. And just figure out what it means later. Is that a thing I'm allowed to do? The thing is, chi also means eat. So, yeah. Okay, so let me switch you guys to what I'm working on. Yeah. So the thing is, chi also means eat. Is it from the same? If that's a merger, then that's something I can use later. Where did we have eat? It's Leipzig, Jakarta one. Yeah. Chewy versus Tiwu. So these are two things that merged. Could be a fun coincidence, yeah. So I need to figure out what this actually means or what it meant in the past, but actually I think I will do that. And it's actually... And I'm going to put this in for the two languages. And something that newcomers might not know is one of the things that I did, and one reasons why I'm saying, okay, let's make this fantasy Shanghai sort of, is this language in particular has the Wu feature, the Wu Chinese feature, where the contours of the first syllable get broken and spread across the rest of the word. So this is actually a falling tone, but in this particular language, what you get is it's a low falling tone, but what you get is mid on the first syllable, and then the second syllable, whatever tone was there, was deleted, and it becomes low. So tatu becomes tatu, and that is how I am going to word level tonemes, yes, which is within Chinese, it's sort of a Wu feature. Obviously, within many other tonal languages in the world, that is like just how it works. If I can remember how to get a grave accent. Oh, I don't think this actually allows me a grave accent. So I'll have to like copy and paste. Why grave? So Yeah. And so so the meaning is harbor and something. Um, maybe it was a surname. Who knows what it is? Um, and this was one thing to make it not just a relax of Chinese is I made the compounds head initial instead of head final. Okay, so and this would be to which this I can type. If I have the right keyboard selected. There we go. Yeah, Sutton. Is that how I pronounce it? Sutton? Yeah, I did kind of get the idea from Slang Time Studio. The issue, the thing that the thing is, I kind of have wanted to stream for a long time, but my own like the combination of having just too much stuff to do and also being a little bit camera shy for personal reasons made it so that I waited for a very long time before I thought of actually going in. Okay, so we got this. And we have a word for language. I think we're going to actually grab this E, and let me make sure what the root is here for tongue. Tongue. Well, where is it? Oh, it's Leipzig Jakarta. It's a basic term. I should have all my roots just in one place, right? Yeah, so this is going to be falling tone. Why do I have it? Why do I have it yeah instead of yeah? Did I mess that up? I think I messed up my word for language. I think it's actually supposed to be not what I have there. So let's put this in here. And let's actually put this correctly. So this should be yeah. And this should be E. How did that get mixed up? Yeah, well, thank you, Sotan. I aim to be useful. So now I have not thought about what happens when you have one of these things with a 3-syllable root. That's a thing that I did not contemplate, and I should have. So let me think about maybe things just get shifted over like that. Okay. Yeah, Tatu's, whatever. That's not how I'm going to refer to it in anything, but it's something right now. I'm glad you like the name for the city, Tatu, okay? Tatu. So that's the name of the language. So there, I can cheat, and I have 2 words to show for my hour worth of streaming. Now let's try to get what 5 more words real quick. So this is this language. So I can take this and stick this up here now. Control V. Yeah, I have not had that ever come up before. And now I have a word for this language. And I can go back, and this will make my life so much easier. Yatatu. Kinda rolls off the tongue. Yatatu. 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 So, and this will be E. I have too many keyboards to keep track of. Itata. 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 Yeah. All right. So, yes. Language. This thing. So, the question is, do I want to try to get the name of this language, or do we want to just start making words? I think I've gone so long that I don't want to do the same amount of like world building work to get a name for this other language. I have an idea that this is going to be like a satellite city of Tatu. That will be like that will be like less prominent, less influential. But I don't really know if I want to like go into all of that right now. Let's think about the stuff that we've made right now, and then we can think about like our harbor. And just like Chinese, many, many words are going to be compounds even when they have a specific root. I hope you're not hearing my daughter screaming in the background, but anyway. So let's think of I can always reverse engineer etymologies, which is what I'm going to do later probably. for this t element, figure out what that was historically. Um, People will know that it's cognate, so they will find ways to figure out like where it came from. But yeah. Um, so harbor. I think I want. So things that you could pair with harbor would be like ship, sea, uh, river. Another term that means harbor, safe. So I want to think about like where I what I want the second element of harbor to be. In Chinese, you have haigang, which is sea harbor, right? Um, I think it kind of depends on what it was associated before. Like, if this meaning historically was already something to do with the sea, like, then maybe it's added to ship because that meaning is somehow still there, and then you want to add another meaning. Do I have a word for ship? Control F. Boat or ship? By the way, I will transfer all of these words into a wiki eventually, but for now, this is what I have. I don't have a word for ship, so let's make it ship harbor. And let's get a word for ship. Leipzig is Control F. Boat. No, that's not boat. Boat. Let's get a word for ship. Home shore, because it's a home on the shore. Maybe this could have meant. Maybe this could have meant something like home before. Home? Not homo, home. Actually, no. Nell, I think you've got it. I'm not gonna do ship. I'm gonna have this actually historically at some point meant home or residence or shelter, which is and then make sure. Suffix. I'm doing kind of compounds here. That's a lot of associations that I'm not sure if I want to be including here. Let's actually sit here and think about pool. Pool actually means something else too. I want to Control F. Does it not mean anything else? Pool means something else. Pool does not mean anything yet. So, okay, so I can, so this can mean shore. That's an interesting thing. So, like, why ducks? It's just it's an interesting metaphor, but maybe I should push that. I think I might push some of that back to the beginning and actually have that. If you're interested in that. But we can have that, and we can have the... Hey, why are you not? Control C. Yeah. Ah. What happened here? Where are things going? What is happening here? What just happened here? Okay. Sure. Why can I not? Why? Excel has just decided not to work. So I'm going to close it and reopen it. Well, you know what? I will help you get your brain unstuck. And we are going to actually decide that this was Duck Harbor, which is a funny name for a big major city. But it's also funny that duck is homophonous with eat. That's going to cause some very interesting puns. But that way we can sort of move along, and I will make part of my story that this city was when it was just a village, it was very famous for its ducks, which probably they lived more in the mouth of the river, because I don't think ducks go far out to sea, really. Yeah. 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 But like, let's sort of yeah, that's really interesting to think about. And maybe that can go somewhere. Um, a lot of times terms for like the protoform, we have sort of general ideas of what it meant. Lots of Disney-based associations. Oh no, Donald Duck lives in this city. Okay. Copy. And paste. How do I need to... I always am having trouble figuring out exactly how to make what I want go where I want it to go. So tapu. Tapu. And tapu. And that is harbor. And shore. Yeah. Yeah. Soton. Okay. Sutton, I think I really want to see your own, you like develop some of these ideas and see your very duck centric conlang. That sounds like a really interesting idea to keep going with. Okay, so we got this. Well, okay. I have had myself talked into making a word for duck. Let's actually make a compound because I don't want the homophone is going to need to be compounded so that people don't confuse them all the time. um, there's different ways that we can go about this. I know that the Chinese word for duck just has a meaningless stem extender added to it. It's ya, and then the word is yazi. You could have a word for bird. Um, uh, uh, yes. Yes, go to Langtime Studio and have them make a duck language. They will be happy for that. Let's make a word for duck very quick. And do I have a word for bird? Yes, I have a word for bird. So that's an adjective. That should not be an adjective at this point. I'm going to have to work on my sound changes and figure out why that's still an adjective. But for now, I will just put it in. And it's a bird that is a duck. Duck. So that's 4 words. Uh-huh. Does this language use classifiers? It will. It will use nominal classifiers. I am not going to work on that set yet. I think I want more concrete words, and if I ever need that, then I can work on it. So, no, there's things that bird open up in my brain that I'm not sure if I want to do. Can we just make bird words? Do I have Control F? Okay. Let me check something real quick. And I'm gonna seagull gulls. Have a worldwide cosmopolitan distribution. They breed on every continent, including the margins of Antarctica. Found in the high. They're less common on tropical islands, though a few species. Galapagos. Okay. Gull map. Gull habitat map. It's only showing me North America, but they exist worldwide, so I'm safe to put seagulls in here. So I'm going to actually yeah. Oh no, oh no, oh no, Sutton. Oh no. Nuptu, I guess, is going to be the common word for duck. T is going to be formal, following like the conventions that you see in Chinese, where formal words are often shorter. I don't want to show you guys my Facebook or my email or any of this stuff. Switch to Excel. Where was my stuff? I may want to edit the recording of the stream. So let's go. Yeah. Yeah, some of those details I will work out later, but so where was I? Okay, I want a word for sea or ocean. So let's go with, let's get a new thing. Bool means something else. Let's actually... Nay. That sounds good. I don't know if I'm going to have the tone spread the mid-tone. I kind of want that to be like a neutral thing. But there, this is a gull. And this is bird sea. Semantic connections. Dylan, I typically will use clicks. Here, I'll type it in the chat. Let me, I can show you guys the thing. Clicks, and you can look up a concept, like you can look up duck. Oh, they have info map goose. So, okay. Is there anything? So, basically, according to clicks, this is not necessarily exhaustive, but, oh, okay. Okay, if you go to subgraph, then, okay, duck, goose, bird, and then all the bird words plus penis. Fish and animal too. That's interesting. Um, so yeah, that's all associated with duck by certain steps. I'm not. Um, so let's get back here. And so how many words do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 2 more. I have a word for river. Do I have a word for the mouth of a river? I only used this word for river for a metaphorical thing. Yeah. Do people eat seagulls? That's not a thing I've ever heard of. Anyway, let's do duck wing while we're here. So, wing. So I had. So wing is what? Yeah. So we've got yeah. Why am I constantly forgetting to copy things? So, yeah, and yeah, T. I think that will be the same in both. No, T has this calling tone. No, it doesn't. What is T? No, T is just all, so it's going to be the same in both. So, yeah. Oh, contronyms. Contronyms are fun, but I have not done any contronyms. So, city, the language of this city, duck, gull, duckwing, and let's try to grab one more. Just because I want to get out before my wife comes down here and tells me to stop. Yeah. By the way, does this happen everywhere in the world, or is it like an America thing where you get seagulls showing up in parking lots? Because, like, I live in Wisconsin. We're very far from the ocean, although there is a lake. I guess they may hang around the Great Lakes. But we have seagulls at the Walmart parking lot all the time. And I just always notice them. Yeah. Anyway, I was not focusing on food today, but it's always nice to add a food word. We got duck. Do we want duck and goose to be the same word, or do we want a different word for goose? Sutton, you're really, really into the duck metaphors, aren't you? I don't know if the duck plus skin is the film on a surface of a liquid, because the thing is, like, observationally, duck feathers are hydrophobic, and people will notice that water just kind of falls off of their feathers, right? Yeah. I realize that I have decided that ducks exist in this world, whereas chickens are replaced by another animal that's slightly different. So that's an interesting fact. Yeah, duck equals goose. I'm going to, okay, I have an idea. I'm going to do this in a quick way, and I'm going to figure out what it means later. But, okay, whoop, whoop. Okay, I'm going to be very silly. And, so it would be, let's just write it there, and then we got this. Goose. There. That's the word for goose. Okay. So we ended up with like 4 or 5 words that have a connection to duck. And that's just showing how suggestible I am. Yes, evil duck. Because geese are very mean. I have encountered geese. They are very mean. Luckily, they did not attack me, but one of them did hiss at me and was very threatening. Okay. Okay. So we have ducks and we have evil ducks. All right. All right, everybody. Now I need to get out of this and go and talk to my family. Canadians are polite because they channel all their rage into Canada geese. Okay. If I ever do clips of this, I think the moment that I came up with evil duck is going to be in there. All right. There were 4 swans on the pond. Oh, yes, swans are another bird that will, like, try to kill you, right? What is it? There's just these very nice-looking waterfowl that will try to kill people. All right, so I've got to go, but I hope some of you guys come and join me next week, and we get lots of activity. And maybe not so many words pertaining to ducks, but let's maybe we'll get the name of this other language next time, and maybe I will have the third thing. I'm on the LCS Discord as GA Corley. I don't have like a Conlangery Discord or anything, but that would be, you know, if enough people were interested, it's something I might consider. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and happy conlanging.